Grant Cardone.
Trump.
What's the other guy's name? Brad Lee. I don't know if he's
Silverstein. Big names, right? Do you see any correlation between how I act, how I dress, how I come across from me to them?
I would say you're the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. And I think that is the magic. Like, you don't have to be that way. But the credibility comes from building something that people look up to and aspire to want. It's just when you have that caricature of who that person is here, they get dismissed also when they start to talk from the heart, because it's easy for you to say now because you're there. The system's broken. Politics, education, religion, medicine, nothing, and I mean nothing, is what it appears. I can help people. So either get solutions or get off the team.
Does it eat at you that every story is framed up as real estate mogul, investment firm CEO, real estate mogul? Because I think back to the conversation we had Tuesday and how you were talking about who you are. I know there's the badge of honor with it, but then your response immediately to that was about Allie and the homework assignment. And I literally thought to myself in that moment, I was just like, I don't think this is how he wants himself to be framed up. And I just think the word mogul comes across evil.
So there's two answers to it. And this is such a deep issue for me. There is what I have seen, felt, experienced, and know to be real, and a crystal clear pathway how to get there.
In what context, though? Because there's pathways for multiple things you're doing.
In mindset, where we come from, where we return to, why we're here, so clear. And more clear every day. And then there's the reality of how do you get people to that place. So anytime someone paints you in that light, I don't interpret one word or the other as good or bad. I interpret as it's a nice thing to say, and it's credibility, and it's recognition, and it's appreciated. Would I prefer to just be,
James Bernamano
referred to as a disruptor in education and the bigger picture? Yeah, but the world doesn't work that way yet. So that's the necessary step, and everything I bust your chops about getting it out is the necessary step for that to happen, because people, me included, 3 years ago, would have went, this guy's a fucking quack, if I didn't know that there was a background behind it. Right? Like you think of real estate mogul, what do you think of?
Big bad investor.
Names. Give me names of people.
Grant Cardone.
Trump.
What's the other guy's name? Brad Lee. I don't know if
Silverstein. Big names, right? Do you see any correlation between how I act, how I dress, how I come across from me to them?
I would say you're the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. And I think that is the magic. Part of my confidence prayer and daily stuff that I do is I'm a transformative billionaire disruptor. Like, you don't have to be that way. But the credibility comes from building something that people look up to and aspire to want. It's just when you have that caricature of who that person is here, they get dismissed also when they start to talk from the heart, because it's easy for you to say now because you're there, right? So much of this has been through the journey, and I think that's the magic people need to see, is you're creating the journey. It is completely generated by you.
The code.
And if you don't shed these things, you can never get there. And I'm not some guy in a suit and tie using big words and talking down. I'm a guy who's going through it.
Have you seen the experiment with the lasers?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, that's been coming across my feed way too often.
Explain it.
What, with the code you're talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's when I've been doing not a deep dive, but coming across that stuff, and I immediately stop. It's not scary, but it's just, wait, what? Like, the fuck you mean I could see through this wall now?
Didn't you have to take a drug for that though? What's
The yeah, and it's easy to go while you're on drugs, but the test that they did is everyone took the same drug, everyone independently looked at the same things under the same conditions, and they all saw the same symbols without speaking to each other.
And if they moved the laser, they saw all of
Different.
us saw the same thing though.
Well, they saw the same symbols, but
Yes.
different symbols
Yes.
for different material.
Yes.
Again, before I brought it up on book club, did anybody know that we only see 0.3% of what is available around us in light at any time?
No.
99.7% of the things going on around us right now we don't see with the human eye. Really?
Mm-hmm.
But we think, well, if I can't see it and I can't taste it and I can't touch it, it's not real. Bitch, please.
Please tell me you got that.
yeah.
Bitch, please.
A stupid example. That is like if I record in slow motion, like 120 frames per second, I do it in the cage a lot, and then as I watch it back, you see the lights are flashing, but we don't see the lights flashing, but that's what's emitting out there when it's being captured at a different frame rate, and we can't see that.
How is it possible I knew you guys were pregnant with a second kid in real time? How is that possible?
Strong sense of smell.
With no discussion about it prior to, I didn't know if you were trying to have a second kid or not. It wasn't on my mind. I had no idea. But you walked in that day and I went, oh, okay. There's no physiological change with you as a woman carrying a child, right? So you can't point to, how did I know?
I don't know.
How do I know for certain? And it comes off crazy, but time after time after time, topic after topic after topic, I knew things were going to happen in the markets. How do you know?
Now in real estate, like I don't want to frame it up as you could see the future, right? But in real estate, there are patterns you could observe that might be able to get you to be able to predict what's going to happen.
And people can observe those patterns and you generate those patterns. So again, all of creation exists simultaneously. It's where you put yourself in the creation that matters. So if I see it and I believe it, of course it's what has to happen. It's not prediction anymore. It's creation. In many other simultaneous existences, it's not happening and other things are happening, but this is mine. It's that simple. And when you look at things like the double slit experiment and the observer effect, those are just the scientific connections. It's like, okay, if we know when we observe particles, they're behaving in a way that we think they should behave in, and when we're not observing them, they're not behaving that way, there has to be some level of connection there, some level of, dare I say, intelligence there. If you quantum entangle two particles and send them to opposite ends of the universe, and you impact one, it instantaneously, not a micro fraction of a second later, instantaneously the other one is impacted because it was connected at some point. I believe we're all connected. I know we're all connected. So
I try and, like, especially when I speak to my wife, because my wife, love her to death, but the way she thinks is very negative. She sees the negative in everything, right?
you know why, right?
No.
Because that's what you're creating.
But,
There's no but.
so let me just finish.
You can finish, but that's the problem.
Okay. So I observed that the other day when the snowstorm happened and the lights started flickering. Power went out for a few seconds. I was like, oh, fuck. I said it in my head and I was like, ah, it's all right. Light went back on, everything. My wife started freaking out. She's like, what are we going to do if we lose power? It's cold. I'm like, We got food, we got clothes, we got water. We lose power, we'll be all right. She's like, but the kids, they're going to be freezing to death. I'm like, babe, we can only control what we're able to control in this situation. And if the lights go out, great, we'll be fine. She's like, Mike, I hate when you speak like this. I'm like, why? I'm showing I'm showing gratitude to the positive in what happens, and the positives, we got food, we got shelter, we got water, great. Nah, I hate when you speak like that, because she wants to feed the negative, and I'm trying to refuse to feed that.
So it's good that you're trying to refuse to feed it, but you have to refuse to create it also, and that's a process. I can talk about it in a glib way now, like, oh, this is so, it's not easy. That is the discipline, the intention, the motivation that the guys were talking about on book club, where they're like, it's just out of character. You've been nose to the grindstone. This has been you forever.
So in the meeting with Rob the other day, he's like, this is hard for me to get used to.
But that is the discipline, motivation, and intention is every day I'm working for 90 minutes before I even touch work on this. It's the last thing I do at night for 30 to 45 minutes, meditating, declarations, confidence prayer, reading over and over and over, reinforcing until that new suit that feels uncomfortable is comfortable. So you have to understand, for your wife, she has her experiences, and every experience that is put upon us is based in fear and control. And it's hard to break through that stuff. You're getting from your wife now what I'm getting from Rob. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I see the change and I see the facts, but there's still that preconceived notion. Part of that is that's my expectation of Rob. When I change my expectation of Rob, that will go away. Or he will go away. But my reality will be what it will be. And when I texted you about my daughter and that assignment, how many more proof points do you need that something special is happening here? And then my 13-year-old for hours sat with me last night, for hours writing her speech, which is then going to become a paper on why the education system is broken. Talking to me about how her friends don't feel inspired, like every day they got to get up and they got to go to school and they're learning stuff that they're never going to use.
That didn't infuriate you, in a sense?
No. Why would it infuriate me?
Because I read what you texted, and I said, they are going to, the people that we trust with our children are now asking for the solutions from our children. Kids, 13 years old, 10 years old, however old they may be, are the majority of it. And I would say your kids are a special case, because this is something you have studied and believed in. But the majority of her classroom, are they ready to guide the people in control about education?
What's the alternative?
Everything stays the same.
Everything stays the same. So, of course, this has to happen, and I'm grateful for it happening. Is there an irony in it that the very people who are asking the questions are the people that need to change? Because our educators need to change. It's not their fault. They were brought up into a system, and these were the rules, and that's how they operate. That's why we've got to start here. We tip the dominoes up here, all of it will change, but I think it's great. I mean, she's in the 8th grade, and she's writing an essay on why this education system's broken and what needs to change. And as she started talking about it, and her passion about, we got to get up early, and we come in, and, we're doing things that we're never going to use. Well, maybe you won't use it. Some people may use it. No one is saying that we have to throw everything we teach out. We're saying teach the kids they're unique, they're loved, they're powerful creators. Teach them what their why is. Teach them about core values. Teach them about time management. Teach them some financial literacy mixed in with everything else. Because you still need your rocket scientists, you still need your doctor, you still need all those different pathways, but it's not for everyone. In fact, it's for the select few. And if it's not the select few, the rest become drones. Right? And as she started talking about it, I said, honey, you're complaining about having to get up early to go. And she's like, yeah. I said, do you complain when it's competition time? And she paused and she said, no, I'm excited to go. I said, and that's the answer. You get up without an alarm at 4 a.m. on competition days because you're excited and you can't wait to go do something that you love. That's what education should become. Finding the things people love, have them lean into it with everything that they've got, give them a well-rounded sampling of different things, because otherwise you really don't know until you're exposed to it. But don't put them in a box where if you can't memorize this and you can't give this back to me, and she said these words, you're measured by a little red number on the top right of your paper. And if you're not really good at memorization and you think differently, it makes you not feel good about yourself. I wanted to cry. But it was also beautiful because she's right. It shouldn't be this scoring system of who can memorize and regurgitate, especially in the backdrop of where we are today. You don't memorize anything. There's a reason I have this here and Grok next to me, right? The things that you can't recall, it will recall for you if you speak to it correctly, instantaneously, with more data than you can ever digest. And everything is changing. If things are changing this fast, then there's football fields long factories that have been converted to robots making robots. That's happening right now. What do you think this looks like in 4 years? That's why I'm raising the temperature with everybody about, hey, this is coming as fast as I feared it could, but didn't think it would. But it had to. Mm-hmm. Of course, you've now replaced the whole supply chain with automation and infinite intelligence that can be accessed in real time, and now Starlink without any wiring, reliably, everywhere in the world, instantaneously. So if a robot in China learns how to make a widget 1% better than the robot in Canada, it can instantaneously update that robot to pick up that 1% of efficiency. Do you understand the enormity of that impact?
Changes everything.
Everything changes. And we're still teaching the same stuff in schools.
Well, and this is not a good thing, but unfortunately, like, things do change in the education system, and we don't have to get into if this is right or wrong, but what I don't want my kids to be taught, different ideologies that people think are appropriate for kids to learn about. When I sent you the video, and when they talk about New Jersey schools and learning the difference between oral and vaginal sex in the 2nd grade, I'm thinking about my daughter, thinking about my son,
Where do you live?
Jersey.
Where do I live?
Jersey.
Who allowed it to happen?
We did.
That's why I'm acting. I can't fault anyone.
But what I'm getting at is that it's more than where AI is going. It also comes down to forcing these thoughts and ideas on children who are not in a place in their lives, in their development, that they should be learning about this stuff.
The parents should be imparting this stuff to the kids, not the education system. You can't fault the education system the same way you can't fault the politicians. We put them there. We created this paradigm. This is our fault. So let's change it. We allowed this to happen. It didn't happen overnight. This isn't something that just occurred, in the snap of a finger. This is on all of us. We all got busy, being distracted, living our lives, falling into that trap of the system of how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do all these different things? How am I going to survive? Which is all by design and all corrupt. If we want to really go down a rabbit hole, look at 0-point energy and how many people have invented multiple different engines and iterations that harness 0-point energy, which is energy from the sky. Every one of them ends up dead or disgraced and broke. Every one of them, well documented, Tesla included. There are people who've created engines that can run like 100 miles on a gallon of water. This isn't fantasy. This is real. You know what the government's response was? I think it was in the 50s. They created an Efficiency Patent Act, where any patents that are over a certain level of efficiency that's created are automatically classified. What?
Why?
What?
Why? And that's the question I guess we should be asking.
Well, and it's the answer that you have. Think about the decentralization of money, wealth, power that happens if you didn't have to get up every day and worry about how am I going to charge my electric car? How am I going to put gas in my car? How am I going to heat my house? How am I going to cool my house? All of the different things that we rely upon energy to run. How are we going to pay for all of this? That's the fear. That's the pressure. That's the distraction that they want you to have to not talk about. Why is there something in our government where if it creates more efficiency, it's automatically classified? How is that? But instead, we're going to talk on and drone on and on about these stupid topics in government that people fall head over heels in love with, that ideology, and they go out and they chant and lead the charge for silly things when the big stuff is all right in front of us. I know it's heavy. I know it's a lot, but what are we doing?
I'm guessing you watched the State of the Union.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to be in tune to all of these things.
So I watched the whole thing, and I was waiting for Trump to say anything on education just to see if the topic came up. Nothing. Does he not? Not he, but are they not seeing this as a top priority, which is why this is so scary? Because how does reforming our education system not come up whatsoever?
If you start teaching kids what I talk about, what Chase Hughes talk about, what Carl Jung talk about, what we're in the Hermetic principles, the earliest writings across every religion talk about the same thing. There is a source. You are the creator. You are powerful. They all talk about the same principles. They all talk about a flood. They all talk about the same things that have happened. And then we pull it into different sections and we create the fate, focus, attention, tribalism, emotion, right? In each one of the religions. And this one must be good, so that one must be bad. And how many countless people have died in the name of religion over the years, right? We all get bogged down into these distractions to take away from what we've known from day one. You disrupt the education system, you disrupt it all. And to disrupt the education system, I believe you have to disrupt the government structure because it is sweeping change. And people don't like change. It's hard. This is hard.
That's change is my wife's biggest fear. Changing anything. Like she's still.
What does your wife do for a living?
She's a special education coordinator in a school.
She's in a system, just like we all are.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say the change for education is weird. She's scared of that, even though if I bring it up to her or any educator, talk to her, spoke to the vice principal of Farrell, spoke to teachers throughout Staten Island, and I bring up these ideas, and they're like, yeah, we tried something like that, and no, it just doesn't really work. And I'm like, but are you trying it the right way? Like
one-on-one, almost every conversation, you can see the spark. You can see they know what you're talking about, but it's heavy.
I think people are scared of heavy conversations.
Dude, we've talked about this before. The experiments where they draw a triangle on a piece of paper and there's 10 people or 20 people lined up and 9 or 19 of them are plants and there's the one person at the end of the line. Everyone goes triangle, 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 triangle. You get it. It's clearly a circle. But like 90 some odd % of the time they say triangle. That's it. All of this, NLP, the RAS, all these things that I've talked about, it's all a systematic programming of people. And it's hard to speak out against it because when you do, you bring great fury and rage.
It's like the video you sent us, the wolf game. I forget what it was called.
Yep.
There's a show based off of that game.
Informed minority.
You got to watch The Traders.
Will beat an uninformed majority time and time and time and time again. And we are the uninformed majority. The people that are in power are the informed minority. It's all a show. All of it. And many of the people in power don't even understand it's a show. But the people they get their money from sure do. And how can we blame them? How can we say it's their fault? We do it. We put them there. We keep them there. We double down into these trenches and these camps. What are we doing? You know, this awakening you've heard about, and I'm sure you've seen on social media about awakenings. It ain't all it's cracked up to be. Like, it's fucking heavy. It's not like, oh, you know, I'm walking through meadows of flowers and everything is beautiful. It isn't that. You can see that importance of that more clearly, and you understand that, but everything else is still existing around you. And everywhere I look, everywhere is someone trying to influence me in some way that if I'm not really paying attention, I don't even know I'm being influenced. Everywhere.
Do you feel in your everyday life, unintentionally or maybe intentionally, you're trying to influence your surroundings? You're saying everything is trying to influence you.
I'm not trying to influence. I'm trying to open up a mind to. I think it's important to not influence, because you're then leading people down a path and they don't know what's at the end of it. I do think it's important to open the mind to consider these things. If we know this stuff about science, and these are documented pieces, and why, for me, the connections are so linear between quantum entanglement and source. But where it takes you, you have to be willing to go. You have to want to go. Right? Because as I'm telling you, it's not all unicorns and rainbow farts. Like,
never seen a rainbow fart.
It's heavy. But it's only as heavy as I allow myself in the moment to make it, and then it's a quick check. Like, no, it's only that if I allow it to be that. And what a blessing it is that now I see it that way. And I can impart that to my friends, my family, my peers, my kids. That's a blessing.
So one last question. I remember a few months ago, you told me something. I don't remember what the subject of the conversation was. But then your response to me was like, Mike, everything I say and do is with intention. I hate the fact that you just took a big swig of that and I got the bottom of the
You got the bottom of the cup. I was waiting for that.
Everything I do and say is with intention. So if your intention is to bring to light or get people to consider these things before you go to bed at night and you close your eyes, what is the win of the day that your intention created? Because every day, do you look for a win?
No.
Okay, when do you look for wins?
I don't look for wins anymore.
Okay.
I feel what I'm doing is right. I feel it's good. I feel it's got a bigger impact. I feel it's got greater purpose. I've learned that you can't control the journey. And when you try to control the journey, it's when you restrict the energy and you stay in a negative or at least a static loop. When you just let things flow, you control the outcome for sure. You don't control the journey. The journey is the experience that you get to have when you're here. So I don't look at it as a win or not a win. I look at every day as bringing what it's going to bring. And I know where this ends, and I know what the result is, and I'm grateful for that result. So whatever happens along the way is supposed to happen along the way. I'm supposed to continue to learn lessons. I'm supposed to be exposed to different things. That's part of it. At night, I meditate, a guided meditation, and I do an unguided to reinforce some of the principles that I want to reinforce about who I am, and then just to let my mind go where it's going to go. And I give gratitude. That's how I end my night, and it leads to, for me, crazy lucid dreams. Crazy.
You have fun during your lucid dreams?
Sometimes. Sometimes they're daunting, but so many times the dreams then end up in the news a year later. So it could be heavy as hell, and it could be amazing. Some of my dreams, I would say, I have to say short of, but it's not the truth. It's on par with my kids being born. I had a very spiritual dream that the emotion and the feeling that it brought in that moment if you could describe what pure, true, pure, unadulterated, unfiltered love is, and to experience that in the presence of an entity for a couple of minutes is what it was. And it's hard to not go, why can't I have that dream again? But I got to be grateful I had it.
But it's weird because they say lucid dreams, you're in full control. So
no, they say in lucid dreams, you can learn how to have some control. You can have some control of what you're doing in a dream. You can have some control to acknowledge it is a dream. But I've never heard that you can control what the dream is completely. Maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't seen that.
So when you're having these dreams, you're fully aware of your surroundings, that you're dreaming.
Oh, yeah. Not that I'm dreaming. I can't say that I'm aware in the moment that I'm dreaming because it's real. It's just when I wake up, it's not, oh, I can't remember anything. It's powerful. And it's not, dreaming up to this point for me would be vague images, vague feeling, vague passing through almost like a ghost. This is, I'm there. And I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, I'm experiencing it. It's different. You're there.
You recall the day in your dream. Like today. If I asked you tomorrow, like, oh, how was your day? You'd probably not remember every little detail you did.
No.
But you could remember the key pieces and the important parts. In the dream, when you used to dream, you would remember those flashing moments.
Flashing. Kind of not sure. Now I can give you detail. And I don't remember ever, outside of like embarrassment, like, you know, what's the famous dream people talk about? You know, picturing yourself naked speaking in front of a crowd or something. Like outside of those kinds of things, there was no emotion ever tied to it from what I recall. But now it is powerful.
I used to have dreams as a kid all the time. And it's actually, if you think about it, it's wild. That almost every dream that I can remember as a kid, nobody would ever be able to hear me. No matter what, I would scream, I would try and yell. Not a single person would be able to hear me. And I don't know how this worked out, but I just started thinking of it. It's weird how that's something that was my nightmares as a kid. And one of my first career choices was to speak to the world.
Do you think that's coincidence? Do you really not think that was your subconscious?
No, I just put this whole thing together. Like I just thought about it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You needed to be heard. You had something to say. You wanted to be heard. You wanted to be seen for whatever reason. Subconscious built up those barriers as a kid, and you're screaming and yelling, but nobody hears you, and you choose to be a radio personality.
It's a little wild.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you make that connection, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
But up until this point, you never thought about it,
No, I haven't.
right?
That's
Because
just
what
the-
are we doing all day? We're on the phone, ad, TV, distract. Meditating opens the mind. And in ways you couldn't imagine.
I've tried to meditate.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
I've tried guided. A lot of the times I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I've laid down in bed and I'll put headphones in and I'll listen to the guided meditation and I just fall asleep.
Okay. That's a
But-
great start.
Yeah.
That's a really, really great start.
But I
'Cause-
think when people think of meditation, they feel like they have to sit there with their legs crossed and put their fingers like this.
Yeah, if you're a fully enlightened monk and you've done it for your whole life, then you can do that.
Yeah.
But just even finding a time and a place to meditate where there's not noise, distraction, knocks on the door, dings on the phone, like it's everywhere and it's by design.
It's
And when you take time to do that, I love nature. I've always loved being outdoors. Don't know why, don't know how. I just found peace. As you start piecing it together, you're like, it's quiet.
Mhm.
You get to disconnect. You get to feel. You get to see. It's different. Like I was fly fishing on renowned trout waters with my fucking phone in my pouch going off. And every few minutes I would tuck my pole underneath to take my phone out to tent. Like, what am I doing? For what?
Yeah.
My value was tied to my performance at work. It was a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I have my phone out on the river, and yes, I am tending to this. Wasn't sustainable for me. For me. Now, when I'm between the lines, good luck keeping up. When I'm outside the lines, good luck getting me.
Mm.
Just a better way, man.
So I keep on saying last thing, but it's like when you're at peace, you're in nature, like you just feel rewarded for whatever.
I feel connected.
Connected. So not to that level, but as you know me, I'm a big gamer, right? So I find peace in getting lost behind a video game, playing this new game. I actually turned on my Xbox for the first time in like 2 years. And I've been playing this game. And then the other day I got distracted and I was looking at my phone and scrolling, had the game on pause, and it came across a video and it was like, do you know why grown men still love video games? And I was right away, I was just like, oh.
Uh-oh.
I was like, what the fuck is this about? And then it was like, because grown men, married, have a job, they wake up, they hear bickering from their wife. They go to work, the boss tells you, you suck, you're not good enough. People around you saying, whatever, just shitting on whatever you do. And then you go home, you turn on the video game, and you're playing a story mode game or whatever. And then you unlock achievements. Characters saying, great job, good work. And then I took a step back and I was like, is this why I fucking like video games right now? Because the noise all around me is saying, Mike, you suck, you suck, you suck. Not you. You always praise everything I do. And all of a sudden I'm getting fucking trophies and achievements and all these fucking things. And I'm like, maybe this is why I fucking find peace in video games. I don't know.
Of course. You're in control of your own fantasy environment. You can do what you want. You get to get on with your buddies. You know, I love video games too. It's a great way to unplug, unwind, but also distract. It's a great outlet. It's one of my favorite things to do, but it also is a distraction. And I notice from the group that we play with, who's breaking cards in between, who's watching videos in between, who's sending you stuff in the middle of a match. The distraction level is so incredibly high. You being able to put headphones on, and even if it's for 30 seconds before you fall asleep, because by the way, you are hearing it when you're falling asleep. It is imprinting on you, so it's good to let it play. You're taking the time to recognize you want to get centered. And that is a great first step. Keep taking those steps. There's all sorts of apps. The Mendy Band is one of the things that I use that I don't quite know how it understands, but when you focus on positive things, like a video game, it goes up and you get stars and rewards. When you start to focus on bad things and get distracted, it comes back down. So it focuses on keeping your attention positive. And over time, you're able to put that down and just do it. I think I told you this, like a year ago, whenever it was. I had the first sense of euphoria, and this was after that dream, without outside stimuli. Did we ever talk about that?
No.
Okay. So
maybe, but I don't listen to you when you speak. So.
Looking into your children's eyes, holding your wife, all of these things that create a euphoric sense.
My daughter running up to me when I get home saying, Daddy, Daddy. That is like...
Take that aside, because I've experienced that. I never experienced euphoria without outside stimuli. I'll never forget it. I got up from the couch. I went to go make a cup of coffee. And as I was walking, I got washed over with the closest feeling to outside stimuli or that dream of love, happiness, euphoria. And it was so overwhelming. And at that point, I'm 49 or 50? To experience this for the first time in my life without something triggering that response was incredible, but frightening at the same time.
It's weird because when you say that, my immediate question wants to be, well, what triggered it?
Nothing.
And no, I get it, but that was the first thought that went into my mind, and I can't picture just walking to make myself a cup of coffee and just getting overpowered by love, because I look at love as just something that is given or something that is earned from someone else or something else, and just to feel it, like
It's what you are.
yes,
It's what babies are. I struggle with this all the time. I see enough evil in the world that my 3D brain wants to say there has to be evil forces at work. There has to be demonic forces at work. There is no way with the things that are becoming public now that we've known about for a long time are not driven by some sort of evil. But then my other side of my brain kicks in and it says, okay, where have you ever seen an evil baby? Ever. You know, I had this discussion with my partner about babies laugh. How do babies laugh? And he's genius level intellect. And he immediately went to, well, it's a learned behavior. You're not accounting for, they're observing mom and they're observing dad and they're observing peers and they're picking up laughter. And I had done my homework prior to, and I said, actually, they did tests and studies of babies that are deaf and blind. They've never been exposed to laughter before. How are they laughing? How is it a baby's natural instinct to be this bundle of joy? When I hear Supertramp's The Logical Song and I send it to you, for everyone else, I would imagine they're hearing a song. For me, it brings tears to my eyes. It's a devastating song. It's this happy-go-lucky beat and it feels great.
It's very weird.
But it talks so plainly in the 70s about you're full of wonderment and your laughter and everything. The world is full of miracles. And then they send you away and they teach you how to be logical, sensible, right? School, work. And then you become a miserable bastard and you don't know why. It's unfair. It's been programmed everywhere to keep us from a greater truth. We're not that way. For me, you know me long enough to know, for me to be saying we are pure love, it's kind of fucking weird.
I mean, yesterday you walked into my office and just chucked my pen holder.
That's my love. It is.
I know.
It's my way of coming in and saying, hey,
Fuck
idiot,
you, Mikey.
let me
Love
knock
you.
your shit over, let you know I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
That's my way of doing it. Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And for people who know me a long time, it's unthinkable. I was...
Pete.
Pete's been through enough of the battles. Pete's seen enough of the grind to know I was the guy that came in and worked all day, every day, and I shit on anyone who didn't do it my way because my way was working and no one would outwork me. And that was my badge of honor. Like, you're not going to outwork me. I've never felt I can lose. I have a tattoo that says never lose. Like, I won't, because I won't quit. And if I won't quit, how can I lose? I'll just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And that got me pretty twisted up.
How do you
pretty
feel,
angry.
How do you feel if, because there are people who to this day would make comments like, man, I wish that old James would come back for a day.
Sure.
Or people that aspire to be that James that you were. What is your take on that? Do you find honor in that? Do you hate that? Do you wish that for someone? Like,
I can't tell you what everyone's journey has to be. I can tell you that I used to be ashamed of who I was. I used to have immense regret for things that I had done, and I don't anymore. I recognize it was all part of what brought me here, and I could not be happier about where I am. I hear people say all the time, you know what I would give to me in my 20s? You couldn't, there is no money amount or anything else in the world for you to bring me back to my 20s or 30s. And I was kicking some pretty good ass in my 20s or 30s. I'm appreciative of it. I've learned enough about the subconscious and its desire to protect you, to understand that I was forged through my own fire for a reason, and I appreciate it. even the most dark, horrible stuff, I appreciate it because it brought me to where I am.
Pete refers to that, James, as, I'm pretty sure you said bitch. just so you know. So maybe you could want to murder him instead of me.
I was a lunatic, but I thought I was doing what was best for everyone. Truly thought that's what I was doing. And
I think, and rough around the edges, as you say, that old James was.
no, you don't know.
No, I don't know. I've just hear the war stories.
You don't know.
I'd rather them be stories.
Those pieces that you're talking about now were my way of, even when I was at my worst, I still saw and felt. And it was very clear to me he had to carve his own path. And if he was regurgitating what I did, he was not carving his own path. And it was my way of trying to be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to carve your own path here, because otherwise you're going to operate in a place, in a shadow that you're not going to be comfortable with tomorrow. I promise you. So today my conversation would be very different, but again, everybody needs the experience that they're having, and they are creating the experience they're having. And it is all manipulated. It is all set up. It is all based on fear and conformity, because the alternative tears down every power structure that exists today. Could you imagine if 0-point energy becomes available? What it does to global corporations, to stock markets, to employment, like across the board, what happens?
I saw Mark Picard actually sent me a video today, all AI generated. It was like Elon Musk and someone else talking, 10, 20, 30 years from now about what we talked about on our meeting the other day about universal income, right? And
Elon was talking about it?
it was AI. I'll even show it to you. It's crazy. And he's like, people don't need to work for their money anymore. They're working for energy. And look at this.
By 2030, almost 80% of people had lost their jobs. They had no money, no purpose, but they had a lot of time on their hands. The less people actually did physical work, the more they wanted to appear as if they did. What if we could use the energy of humans to power the machines that took away their jobs?
Energem solved our need for energy and your need for purpose.
So that's fucking frightening.
By 2030, almost 80% of
That is fucking frightening. And cuts to the core of what I'm worried about. If people don't find purpose before this tsunami of shit comes, we're fucked. And that would be a fairly easy pivot. Some goofy thing like that.
Yep. I saw that and I was like, I need to show James this at some point.
The change is coming. And you know how I feel. We've been here before. We'll be here again. Let's try to not fuck it up. The pyramids are not just pyramids.
But you say we've been here before, we'll be here again, but there's an opportunity to stop it so it doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm. Let's not fuck it up.
With that, let's talk about CRMs.
Okay. There is a vague tie in there to CRMs because it's changing so fast that if you're not using a CRM, you're dead. The way that people communicate today and the way that people want information communicated to them today, there are so many platforms, there are so many opportunities to make touch points. And if you're not increasing your sphere of influence, you're finished. And if you don't have automation, you're finished.
I think that
In this business, for sure.
the crazy part is the traditional CRM, the Mondays, the follow-up boss, whatever. That's really going away after the conversation that I had with Gallo, who's been really leveraging and trying to learn Claude.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's like working with Claude to do for him, the AI, the Claude, the Groks, the Chat GPTs, that's going to be your CRM, and it's going to do everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this type of stuff is good for now, but I think it goes away eventually.
It doesn't go away. It changes,
That's what I mean,
right?
Yeah, like it's going to
having a CRM in, I don't know, when did I start in this business? Late 90s, early 90s.
I don't know.
It was a very different world, right? Like when I started, there were books. There was not even internet, no modems, no anything, but you still had prospect cards. You had that little plastic, back then it was actually metal, box of all the clients you had met, and you jotted down notes about what they were interested in. And if you were working your book, you stayed in contact with those people. You sent them letters, you reached out on their birthdays, you kept them updated if something new came out, which was once every 2 weeks when the book was printed is the only time you found out, but you were working your iteration of a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
The advent of digital came, things dramatically changed, emails, text messages, then the overflow of influence in that stuff in our lives, and we started unsubscribing and blocking. That evolved, right? It's constantly evolving. So CRM never goes away. The iteration of a CRM goes away for sure.
Yeah.
And AI gives you this infinite intelligence and allows you to build systems and create connectivity in a way that's never happened before. So in my mind, it's not less relevant. It has never been more relevant. If you're not utilizing these things, you're dead.
And figure out how to evolve with every iteration.
Yeah. And you're very close to not having to figure out how to evolve. You're very close to, if you know how to use the base components to get you started and you have worked with your AI enough, it will do it for you. Like you can, when we were doing this exercise the other day, I was talking about different places that leads come from and what's the best way to communicate with people. And in that moment, it was text message. I think it was 57% of people prefer that are working with real estate agents to be contacted by text. If you set your AI up properly, you can tell it to monitor things like that. As text messages increase the amount of text messages we're sending out. What type of messages do they want to receive? Do they want market data? Do they want personal outreach? What is it? Adapt. As maybe it shifts to email or WhatsApp or whatever the hell the next thing is going to be that people are using to communicate for real estate. As those percentages change, evolve our outreach to tailor to those things specifically. And it writes the code and it creates the connectivity and it does it automatically. You know, that company my son is working on, he put together the website, how to track ads, a portal for influencers to log in, a portal for golf course owners to log in, a place where the monetary piece would occur in like 6 minutes.
I showed him a website, Lovable, and he's like,
this is stuff that we would have just 2 years ago, we would have paid $100,000 for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in 6 minutes. It was built.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
It's eating me alive right now, like the new Turtleback site, knowing how much we...
But again, you go through what you have to go through while you're going through it, but now there's an opportunity to do these things.
I experimented with the site that I gave your son for Turtleback, and I literally took the link from Turtleback, put it in there, and I said, recreate this site, minimal prompt. And 5 minutes later, it spit out everything the way I wanted it, how the current site is, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Now, in business, you're seeing this play out in real time. Don't you think we should be teaching it in school?
100%. But it's crazy because I love my wife to death. My wife is scared to use AI for work and scared to not talk about it with students because she doesn't really teach the students anymore. But she's like, stays away from Chat GBT, and I'm like, don't use it as the answers, leverage it to help you get to the answers you need to get to. She's like, no, I can't do it. So she's doing everything manual. She still has that human touch. And I don't know why I can't. It's not my responsibility to get her to leverage it, I don't think. Like you said, she has to go through her own experiences the way she has to go through them. But her as a administrator in a school, hesitant to use it. It's crazy.
Crazy. But
You're not crazy, honey, but
that's the system. No, of course it's not her fault. It's the system. Again, my son has been blessed to be able to go to one of the best private Catholic high schools in the state. And he's predominantly learning exactly what I learned 35, 40 years ago. How is that possible?
it's got to piss you off.
It doesn't piss me off. It did piss me off, but now it's like, okay, there's the opportunity. We have to evolve. We're seeing in the business world how dramatically things are changing, how fast things are changing. We've got to get the kids schooled up on this stuff.
And kids now, high school, and your son probably experienced it, go through this stress and fear of
course.
anxiety with the SAT, the all-important SAT, and you're only going to get into particular schools if you get this grade or this score. And I remember when Jack was interning here, his parents wanted him to be studying all this time, nonstop, to do good on his SAT.
How do you
And
possibly...
he was fucking stressed out.
How do you take a kid, that's 17 years old, a boy or a girl, that has had their experiences that they've had, that has for the most part, the overwhelming majority, I would surmise if you took a sample of how many kids feel inspired in school, it's less than 10%. How do you pivot in a year when they're preparing for the biggest change in their life, if they're thinking of going to college, to now knuckle down and study and regurgitate all this stuff that hasn't inspired them to this point? And then they get that SAT score, and their value is derived out of what that SAT score says. And because they haven't had the experiences in life to understand that doesn't define you, and this is a blip of time, it is everything. And then the acceptances come and the rejections come, and you tie your value to those rejections, and you are continuing to reinforce that pattern of, I'm not good enough. And then you start to make excuses to shy away from it. And before you know it, you're 50 and you've been in a job for 20 or 30 years and you have no fucking idea why you get up every day to do that job. And you have no idea why you get up and do half the things that you do every day. You just do them because it's what you do. And you're on fucking antidepressants and you're overweight and you're not pursuing the things that you love because you don't even know what you love. And it happens that fast. It's a massive problem that we're facing. Massive. And this AI and automation and robotics is going to turn everything on its head. Fast. Fast. Scary. Could be amazing, but scary. Pull up, Pete. What is like Tesla's projection for robots in circulation in 2040?
What was the question?
How many robots will Tesla have in circulation in 2040?
You want to guess?
I'm probably going to be unfair in my guess, but I would say it's got to be, weighing that there's business forecasts and being on the conservative side, because I think it'll be way higher than this, 50 million? Higher?
Way higher.
60? 80?
10 billion.
10
Billion.
billion.
Humanoid robots in operation worldwide by 2040.
Okay.
You can't even count the amount of robots before your death. It's impossible. That is fucking scary. That is the majority of human life. That is more than human life. I don't know.
We are,
think so.
yes, we are headed for I don't even know how to explain it beyond what I've tried to explain to everybody.
That is 10 billion. What's the
And
population?
it's easy to go, 14 years from now,
We have 7 billion, but yeah, it says it's going to outweigh the population.
14 years goes like this. And I promise you in 4 years, not even, by 2030, the landscape has dramatically changed where 50% of the jobs that are done currently are not going to be done by people anymore. So
That number is frightening.
understanding AI and customer relation and the dynamics that come of this is super important. Staying in touch, having a big sphere of influence. How many times have you heard me say your social currency is worth more than platinum? Before you know it, we will have people paying for human experience. Watch. That would be some of the biggest business models. We'll be creating an in-person human experience.
So just explain a little bit more on that, because we pay for human experiences now. Like someone would look at a concert as a human experience.
Okay, but that's a perk. I get to go to a concert.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool thing that you get to do.
Driving a
Everything
car.
will be so automated. We will be seeking human interaction for need, not, oh, I get to go hang out with my friends at a concert.
Got it. I don't know where to go from the 10 billion number, because that number is frightening.
But you're thinking just about 10 billion here.
Yes.
When I hear that, I'm thinking lunar base, Mars, terraforming. Like we've now gone out to other places and done other things.
Mm.
And the incongruent nature of seeing what's coming and not connecting, like it's not, when I was talking about silver when it was at 25, it wasn't subjective to me if silver was going to go up. It was an essential thing that had to go up because I understand what silver is in. You talk about copper and raw materials. What's the number one raw material in one of those robots? Give me like the top 3 raw materials. No.
I remember my stepmother pays attention to silver, and she's been telling me to buy silver forever.
You're looking at an aggregate of every material that's in a robot.
Humanoid with a robot.
I'm looking for what the raw materials are, the minerals that are necessary to develop them. And here's a great example of AI, how to use it and how not, right? Copper ores, silver, gold, nickel. And if you take this one step further, iron ore, you can ask it to demand for rare earth magnets, lithium, copper, nickel, surge dramatically. You can ask it to look at the current production of those raw materials in existing mines in the world and what is the shortfall today, 2030, 2035, supply and demand. So is that making a prediction?
It's looking at the
Right? Something, I knew these things are coming. I understand this is happening. And now you have access to data to back up shortfalls, production, permitting. It's pretty easy to see where certain things are going.
the impact of the copper mine.
Cannot possibly be quantified. You know, Bernie Sanders, something about him, I want to give him a hug. you know, like an old grandpa. I think he's well intended. I don't know, but he's been talking about regulating and slowing this down, and how are we going to like the disconnect between the leadership and what is real is fucking astonishing. We should be talking about mining operations, where it's going to come from, because without these raw materials, we lose. Right?
That's our control.
It's the control. It's the supply piece to what is going to be an insatiable demand.
Sounds like it's more, you know, how you always hear, you know, wars are started over oil.
Because oil was made the centerpiece of pretty much everything. Right?
This is going to outtake oil.
Oh. Where this can go can be so awesome. It can be so cool, where you don't have to work anymore, where robots are producing for you, where your portfolio is getting traded, where you create a portfolio because of things that are being traded. Like if you program, that's the AGI. The whole idea behind the bot on the site was, how do I get it to think the way I think? Because if it can think the way I think, it can make these connections and it can help people on a broader scale instead of one-on-one me talking to people. That's where this goes. And I would argue we're there already. People are saying, oh, it'll be 2035 before AGI. Then it was maybe 2030. And now it's maybe Q4 of this year, which means we have it and it's running. Like all of this stuff is
It's demo.
AI, you know, DARPA had 25, 30 years ago. So, you know, now we're getting access to it, but the change that's about to come, like, am I going to be the only guy that knows the lineage? Not the only guy. There's a lot of people out there. And in my circle, there's a lot of people that talk about it, about 0 point energy. Like, when enough people wake up to that, people are going to go, what? We can pull energy out of the air? Would you pay your bill? No.
Why would I?
It's coming. And it could be really awesome, or it could be a fucking disaster.
Isn't that what Tesla? So Tesla, obviously, you know Tesla, but he created energy from the ground, and his main backer or whatever was it Morgan Stanley or somebody? And he asked him, "How do you put the meter on it?"
Yep,
"No."
True story.
And then he was gone.
And then he died broke in a hotel. And these are the connections I make and assume are being made. But the guy who took the files from the FBI, Donald Trump's uncle.
80 boxes he has.
He's the last person to have access to those files.
Not Trump's president.
It's all orchestrated. All of it. Nothing is real.
I feel like
And it's heavy
the
because
more you learn about it, you feel like a puppet.
you are a puppet. We're all puppets.
Yeah.
And it's heavy because it's like, okay. You ever see the movie The Saint?
No.
You don't believe in all this cold fusion mumbo jumbo, do you?
I don't watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
Kilmer?
Val Kilmer.
Batman.
And it was about a guy who was trying to steal the secrets to cold fusion that would produce heat for the world, and you know, this infinite power source that would change the whole dynamic of the world. It sounds amazing on the surface. 0 point energy sounds amazing on the surface. But how do you ease that into society where there's not a revolt and everything doesn't crash tomorrow? So it's easy for me to point out these things and be like, what the fuck? But I'm not sure I'd want to be the guy that has that on their shoulders. How do you roll this stuff out?
Are they trying to do that with electric cars? Because they're doing it easily to get rid of gasoline, technically?
I believe we have been moving toward, and I believe there are certain leaders in the world, in business and in government, although they're few and far between, that have been moving us to a better place. And there has to be kind of a transition because it can get pretty bad pretty quick.
So with everything, because I do want to wrap this up so we could do this, but the original, it's crazy how this conversation evolved, right? So we started with education reform. You know, kids need to find their gifts, their purpose. Allie with her homework. And it's evolved to what we're talking about right now. Make the connection. You say it could be really awesome or it could be really scary. What's the connection to what we're seeing with the robots and
Okay,
zero
so
energy to education reform?
0 point energy is released tomorrow. UAP disclosure is released tomorrow. All of the dots are connected with the Epstein files tomorrow. Insider trading is banned tomorrow. All things that people pretty much universally go, yeah, we want to know what would happen here, right? Like we want the truth. Now, what's the reality of the truth? 0 point energy is released to the world, and we know how to pull the energy, generate it, and all of your electric bills or energy bills are going to go away. Pete, do a quick search. What percent of the population has their employment tied to energy in any iteration, from the harvesting of the energy to the delivery of the energy? What population of USA is tied to energy production in some way or another? Gas, oil, solar, from the people that mine the raw materials through the people that pump out your bill.
Approximately 8.5 million U.S. workers, 5%, 5.4% nationwide.
Okay, so they're out of a job tomorrow. Now what? That's just one component of one.
That's production and delivery. That's not even anything else you said.
Yeah, because if you tie it all in, it's probably 20 to 25% of the population would be unemployed. Now, if I'm unemployed, but we have access to 0 point energy and we can now run machines on our farms and generate our own food, and as we've evolved, interestingly enough, we would roll back to more of a barter system, more of a trading system, more of a communal system. How many people would really be cool with, outside of the, oh, I don't have to go to work tomorrow, waking up every day with nothing to do?
I don't know if they would be okay with nothing to do. I think they would have fear of not having something to do to support their family, their well-being.
That's the universal income discussion that comes of it. So you don't have to go to work anymore. We're going to pay you. How do you feel?
I personally find value in coming to work and having purpose. And, I've told you, I love my kids, and I don't feel very productive when I work from home, even though I do get stuff done. But there's more stress on me when I'm working from home.
And you're, as much as it pains me to say it, a reasonably centered guy. And you recognize, wow, I derive a good amount of value from work. Mm-hmm. There's no more work.
I'd probably go crazy.
Yeah. And I've watched multiple people in my family get to retirement age and literally die because their whole, that's that 50s and 40s mindset of, I got to work. And when there's not work to be done, you lose purpose. So if you don't find purpose in other things before that happens, it's a catastrophe. That's what I mean by education reform, term limits, all of these things that I feel have to happen so that we can take those next steps, because it is coming. Business and enterprise is going to move. Technology is going to move. UAP disclosure. There is sophisticated, intelligent life that was here. This younger Dryas theory, you know, I was reading something the other day about these tablets or engravings they found that they're now saying were from 30,000 years ago, and they're arguing, well, it was just like hieroglyphic type of etchings. This wasn't really writing, and when you look at it, you're like, yeah, no, this was writings, which takes the narrative of evolution of people and totally lights it on fire, which aligns with the pyramids not being built by the Egyptians, being built prior to for a bigger purpose. There's an infinite intelligence, or a far greater intelligence than ours, that we now disclose. What does that do to people in power? How do you perceive the president, the congressman, the senator, the assembly member, the mayor?
Meh.
Yeah. Why should I listen to you anymore? So it's all great on the surface, and it can be incredible growth, but it can also be fucking scary. People don't like change. And if we don't kind of ease through this process and start getting people to understand and accessing and exploring different ideas, these can be incredible shifts. And if I know people, it will be all too easy to take these extraterrestrial or other intelligent life forms and paint them as a threat. Because nothing brings people together better than that kind of tribalism, emotional mentality of war. You know, we're not at war with China anymore. We're not at war with Russia anymore. We're not at war with
ourselves right now.
Now we're at war with interdimensional, intergalactic beings.
That's a big fear.
Fire up that war machine, baby.
See, when you talk about like not going to work and having purpose and all these jobs getting taken away, it's crazy.
Let me close the loop on this, Mike, because what comes after that is fucking horrifying. It's false flag attacks that wipe out massive amounts of people to justify fighting another enemy. And knowing people, that's where this goes.
Like 9/11.
9/11,
I don't care.
in the moment, it was very easy to
Point
bang a
fingers.
drum and be like, let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
Living through it, seeing it, literally watching it happen. And then you get past it and you start looking back at, was it Tower 7 that nothing hit? How did that come down? And the fire burned at such an incredible rate that it melted the steel.
Why were there
But
explosions?
they found the passport of one of the attackers blocks away, unburned.
Those explosions. You could zoom in on the towers, and there's like little
Maybe,
explosions.
perhaps,
coming out.
perhaps there was, I don't know. I do know now, looking back on it, and I'm as pro USA as the next guy. There was a lot of things that went on there that you have to go, what the fuck really happened here? But in the moment, it's like, oh, they found the passport 6 blocks away of Muhammad Atta, or whatever terrorist person's name it was, unburnt, unscathed, that flew out of the plane, that burned at such a rate that it melted the steel. Yep, let's go to war. We'll go get those fuckers. Really? Really? So many of the things that have led us to where we are, it's just not real, man. The newscasters through the 50s, 60s, 70s, almost all of them documented now were in the employ of the CIA. Almost all of them. Walter Cronkite, these legendary names, they worked for the CIA. They were shaping narrative, using NLP, using all of the things that we've talked about to guide a narrative and get people to adopt it in a mass way to do the things that government wanted you to do.
There's a political commentator, I forget his name, but pretty sure he was a student and was on the news interview for like Sandy Hook shooting and like a few other school shootings. And it was like, how did this guy go to all these different schools, and how is he
The protests on both sides of the aisle, again, this is not a one-sided thing.
Mhm.
They're paid.
Yep.
You know how easy it is with facial recognition now to prove all this stuff out? But the optics continue. Let's have protests because protests engender that focus, authority, tribalism, and emotion, that fate principle that Hughes talks about all the time. That's how you do it. Well, they're doing it, so I should do it. If they feel it's righteous, I should feel it's righteous, because none of us take the time to look inside, because we get lost in our video games, we get lost on our phones, we get lost on fucking Netflix and TV and all these wonderful things that are great to have, but you got to spend some time with yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Like throughout this, you always try and think about yourself and everything. But I'm at the point in my life where like I do things for myself, but I do them really for my kids. Like I work on my health, my weight. Like I'm doing it for my benefit, but I also want to be around for my kids as they grow up and they experience life and be able to see them do all these things. And now it's like, I always wonder when Juliana grows up, what is she going to pursue as a career? And thinking about where we're headed.
So let's have that hard discussion
What's
right
the
now.
opportunity for her?
Let's have that hard discussion right now. What is she going to pursue as a career?
It's funny on our call, not even funny, but on our call on Tuesday, you brought up the home dentist, the robot dentist at your home. Juliana right now at 4 years old, if you ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, she'll say a dentist.
Okay, so that's not going to exist.
No.
Now what?
Exactly. That's the fear, me as a father, because I'm waiting to be able to see the spark in her. Because she's at 4 years old right now. Is she going to pursue becoming a dentist? I don't know. We don't
I
know.
wanted to be a veterinarian when I was a kid.
Yeah. But there comes a point in someone's life where they see an opportunity. That's their spark. I saw it with radio because I've always just loved to entertain and host and whatever. And I pursued it and I got it. Radio, I don't care what any radio host says. I hear people on radio say it now. Radio is dead. It's dead. You don't need it because you could go on your phone, listen to what you want. Voice tracking. Do you know what voice tracking is? So voice tracking is the majority of radio you listen to, if you listen to radio, is pre-recorded radio hosts who are recording their shows in their basement.
Okay, yeah.
And it's just a pre-recorded thing. I did it sometimes for the weekends when I had to do weekend shows. That's the majority of radio. It's all pre-recorded nonsense. Radio right now is entertaining AI voiceovers because now you don't got to pay the talent. That's gone.
Okay.
So if I ever felt that spark again and I said, James, I love you, dude, but I got to go back to where my passion is, and that was talking on the radio, I wouldn't have anywhere to go. The opportunity is not there.
Okay. You love your kids.
Love them.
Love my kids. Pete, you love your kids.
Love my kids.
Okay. We're all above average thinkers.
You said
We've
that
all
about me.
had in-depth conversations for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Why is nobody screaming at the rooftops that there's this level of uncertainty for the future? You guys have been in on the conversations. This is the weight that I talk about. Why is that not happening?
What do you mean?
We're sitting here saying you don't know what the future is going to be for your kids. You don't know what the future is going to be for your kids. The jobs as we know them are not going to exist. Education system hasn't evolved one iota. Government has barely evolved one iota. Why are we not all screaming about this and only this? Not, was Trump being a misogynist? Are the Democrats going too far on immigrant rights? None of that shit matters.
The influence.
None of it matters if we don't get a handle on this.
They're keeping they're keeping you talking about what they want you to talk about.
While the billionaires are building bunkers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Why are we not talking about it? We all love our kids. We've all made sacrifices for our family. Why isn't everybody screaming about this? Certainly isn't we're the only ones that see it.
No.
How do you counsel your kids now? How do you advise you? My son is going through the college process. 2-3 years ago, I would have been like, I want you to go here. I want you to be in this network. I want you to meet these people. Now, I'm like, dude, whatever sparks for you. Truly. Whatever sparks for you, that's what you do. If you listen to that spark, I promise you, any connection, any meeting, any involvement that is profound and would lead to great things for you is going to be where you're creating that spark, not you going and grinding your way in a miserable fashion through some highfalutin business school. That's hard as fuck to do. And that's just me letting go. What about us demanding that this is addressed?
Yeah.
In a big way. Like we have for the first time ever, we have no idea what tomorrow is going to look like. Literally tomorrow. Like, we're talking a few years. And nobody's talking about it. We're all so fucking distracted and pulled into these camps. We don't know who we are. Never mind what we can provide for tomorrow.
And then how do you even guide the next generation? Because we're not even guiding ourselves, really.
No.
Like literally just talking through this. When you grew up, when I grew up, we were 4 or 5 years old. Opportunity everywhere. Right? Technology. The internet was barely a thing in the 90s when I was growing up. And my daughter, 4 years old now, when she's 20, it'll be 2043.
Well, nobody talks about that.
Like that is
You think
petrifying.
that the chips that Elon's developing that will bring sight to the blind and bring mobility to those who have been paralyzed or were born or whatever their conditions are, do you think the immediate next thing is not having grok available just by thinking about it? How do your kids compete with that?
Can't.
Do you want them putting a chip in their head?
No.
This is all now. Right now.
It's fucking... Yeah. I know we have to do it, but like the more this conversation goes on, the less I want to fucking learn about a CRM.
I know.
Like this is daunting now.
There's no way I can do this video now. I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
This is the heaviness. This is so fucking heavy for me. And nobody's talking about it anywhere. And it's fucking frightening.
Like the heaviness that I felt the other day was from the video I sent you, and that was more of just a ideology, political perspective. This is... If my daughter comes to me and says, Daddy, I want to do this, and I tell her you can't, that hurts. And I feel like I'm getting emotional thinking about it. That sucks. I never want to tell my daughter she can't do something. Sorry.
It's good because, Mike, you will have to answer the bell
No, I know.
for what you did or what you didn't do. That's going to impact your kids' lives. Period. Full stop. There's no hiding from it.
Yeah.
And the collective conscious can make this an amazing, incredible time of growth where we all put our fucking weapons down. All the things I've talked about the pardons for all of that stuff is coming from this place of we got to put our swords down. We got to start lifting each other up. We've got to start figuring out a better way because the alternative collective conscious, just as easy as it is to pivot people into these divisive camps, it will be that easy to pivot them into a disaster. And I feel responsible in some fucked universe. I feel responsible for getting this out. Like, what are we doing?
This is literally the not the literal conversation, but like even thinking about the website, and gotten great compliments on the whole Academy and Project website, how it looks, you know, the feel, but the story there is wrong. Because again, you'll look at it and it's, you know, real estate guy teaching you all these great things.
I don't know how to tell that story outside of what I'm doing right now.
No, I've got it, and I'm already working through it. But it's literally, and it's more than just the CRM piece right now. It's like we're gonna do the real estate piece, but it just makes me, who gives a fuck? Honestly, like that's just me being blunt. Like I can care less if you ever complete the real estate portion of this academy. If it never even exists, so be it. I know there's the value there, but why are we putting energy into something that truly doesn't matter? There's that.
Not to be the bringer of doom here, but like all the things that I'm doing are to try and position to do better. The spaceport stuff I'm super passionate about for a really good reason. I'm going to work really hard to make that come around to everything it should be for a really good reason.
I heard you own that place.
Okay. Can you imagine? but what a great example of what people take on its surface as news. The exact same press release that was issued in conjunction with the governor's office went to every publication, and one of them just wrote, mistakes happen, but they wrote a story so far off of what the press release said, and people heard it and went, "Oh, you took over operations there." What? I was like, what are people talking about? And then I saw the story and I was like, oh my God. This is just another example of how easy it is to control a narrative. Just because they spoke it out, they created focus from a place of authority, tribalism and emotion comes with it, and that's the narrative. So many people reached out to me about it, and they're like, oh, we didn't know it went private. I'm like, what? I'm like, thanks. Well, what are you talking about?
I'm on the board.
But think about how
dangerous that truly is.
Dangerous that truly is. And that the CIA was our news anchors for decades. For decades. Yeah. Yeah, you want to spend an hour talking about CRM? Go shoot yourself in the face.
This was good, though. This is important. Fuck.
Start meditating, and this stuff will start becoming more and more heavy and more.
What's your go-to meditation guide? I've typed in Spotify and I type in meditation and whatever pops up.
Okay, so
I'll see the one that I searched.
This is one. This is a guided one.
What I want you to do is I want you to find a quiet and comfortable place that you could enjoy this hypnosis experience. And as you find that quiet and comfortable place,
is that a personalized one?
Yeah.
I want you to take 2 deep
So,
breaths in through your nose and slowly exhale
I did.
your breath, starting.
Enter the astral realm, guided astral projection meditation.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful with some of that stuff.
I'm really into that stuff, though.
I know, but
I'm really
you
into-
astral projecting.
I've always wanted to.
I know, but step into that easy.
Did I ever tell you this story with my dad?
Yeah. Step into it easy. There's a lot of unknown there. And I'm simply talking about you not being distracted. You're talking about projecting yourself into a different fucking universe.
I'm really into it.
I'm sure you are. And I think it's cool as fuck. And it's remote viewing and all that stuff. I would love to really understand and be able to do. But get centered first and just don't be on your phone while you're playing a video game. Start with that.
Figure out who you are.
Figure out who you are and go easy. So I do Grok generates the things that I want to focus on in whatever length, whatever specifics, a ramp down and a ramp up period to get you into, it's a hypnosis, right? That's what it is. It's quieting your mind so that you can hear the suggestions at a subconscious level and then bringing you back aware, and those things stay and play in your subconscious. So the guided stuff I do every day and unguided. And the unguided is just clear your mind, quiet, focus, and let it go. And it'll take you to some crazy places and you'll see some crazy things. But
Sometimes there was another one I did. I don't remember which one it was. It wasn't astral projection. And yeah, I think it was 10-minute meditation for stress and anxiety, or peaceful meditation, one of those two. And like, I don't even need the meditation to do it, but like, you ever just close your eyes and the light that is projected from your closed eyes starts,
creating images?
that fucks me up.
Oh, yeah.
That really fucks me up. And like, I'll be seeing things, and I don't know how to put like a physical thing to it, but it honestly feels like you're traveling in a sense, and it's really fucking odd.
Yeah.
Does that make sense when I say traveling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember the Matrix when Neo's mouth went away?
Mm-hmm.
When you're meditating, make your eyes go away. They're sealed shut. You don't have eyes. You cannot see. They are not part of your sensory components anymore. And it will amplify your other senses. Like, shut your eyes off and open your mind to the energy. Whoa.
But how do you shut you, like, because I see the light.
So seeing the light, different levels. For a period of time, I put a pillow over my face because I didn't want to see the light, because I had a hard time convincing myself that
You didn't have
how could I see the light if I don't have eyes? And I put a pillow over my head, so that was pitch black. Now it's just, if the sun is there or the light is there, you'll feel it on your skin, you'll feel it on your face. Doesn't mean you could see it through your organs.
Mhm.
But your eyes are gone and your third eye or your brain opens up to images, energy, feeling. Let it just go. And the images that will project.
You taking a gummy before meditation?
No. I don't need any gummies. I don't need any fucking anything getting in there. Though that's a limitation for me, because from what I understand, the right drugs really, really break down the subconscious barriers.
Really?
But yeah, that's the whole DMT experience with the laser level.
Well, I will say, and it's crazy. Maybe it's going to sound like stoner material, but when I was in college and I would smoke weed occasionally, I smoked weed and I had to do a paper on this book, and the book was about the word if and the different paths that the word if can take you on. If you did this, you would go here. If you did not do this, you would go there. And I don't know how I did this whole page. My professor loved it. I got a full A on it, but I was stoned when I wrote that paper. But it was the deepest paper I've ever wrote about. It kind of went on like a timeline, like, or like a, I think you even spoke about this. We're all on a path, and then we all have different branches of the way our
Every
lives.
reality exists simultaneously.
That's pretty much what the paper was about. Like, if you did this, you would go this way, or if you did that, you would go that way, and depending on where you landed at this point, yada yada yada.
So,
And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I probably wasn't high.
You definitely couldn't have done it. And I could tell you again, this psyop that we're in, anything government has traditionally told you, bad, stay away, don't do, is a psyop. And in the 60s, the hippies, who up until recently I fucking hated the notion of these fucking drug-doing, free-loving pieces of shit, were onto something that was enlightening. And the government went, shut this the fuck down. We don't want people seeing. We don't want people knowing. We don't want people being able to get past their subconscious. We're not ready for it. Most of the ideas that are really good for humanity come out of the far left. The idea.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the implementation of ideas gets done better by the far right. But it's the leftist ideas that today are the most common sense. The food pyramid just got inverted. How is it not the biggest scandal ever that the food pyramid that we grew up on, certainly I grew up on, Pete, you probably grew up on it, was a complete scam?
Carbohydrates, ton of carbohydrates. Yeah,
It was a complete scam designed to make you sick, and the food in the food pyramid was tainted with chemicals and poisons that made you sick, and the funding to create the food pyramid came from the food lobby. They've reversed the food pyramid, literally turned it upside down.
Mm-hmm. What's on the bottom? What was on the bottom? I don't remember.
Meats, fat, all that stuff was stay away from, you'll die.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's what you should be eating predominantly. And sugars is the least bit.
you know, the guy, the propaganda.
Because carbs
dude,
break down into sugar.
The guy, the father of propaganda. What's his name? Bernays. Ed Bernays. He's Sigmund Freud's nephew, but he is like the father of propaganda. He came up with, I think it was the messaging for the food pyramid, Virginia Slims, the cigarettes, and how
They poisoned us for 30 years. We have a press conference about it. The food pyramid is now inverted overnight. Everything you were doing, you shouldn't be. Everything you weren't doing, you should be. Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, no. I don't think I heard that.
go back to what you said before.
You didn't even hear it. They turned the food pyramid upside
no,
down.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever heard it.
Everything the government told us was a complete fabrication for food lobby. What the fucking fuck? This is what we feed our kids.
Yeah.
This is how I was raised. I wonder why I have sarcoidosis, why my brother has Crohn's, why my mother has lupus. We're poisoning ourselves.
Oh, it's lupus?
Yeah. And it just went away. Where's the class action lawsuits?
Yeah.
Where's the fucking outrage that we've been poisoned?
Yeah.
Why did Coca-Cola get away with trying to deplatform Joe Rogan? Coca-Cola.
Odd.
Yeah, but when you follow the money, it's not. He was talking about health. He was talking about exercise. He was talking about natural immunity. He was talking about all these things. And Coca-Cola was the biggest funder to the FDA. And the FDA came out and said to the news anchors, bad. Get rid of this motherfucker. Deplatform him. Coca-Cola. The company, by the way, that started by putting fucking Coke in the cola. It's everywhere. It's fucking so heavy. It's still called Coca-Cola. We're going to take statues down of Washington. George Washington. But the food company that was putting cocaine in their soda to get you addicted is gone.
No, that's fine. Statue, bad. Coca-Cola, no problem. Nothing to see here. What the fuck?
What gets me is the same products here and in Europe are totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different. Like, I don't know how they got away with that.
Oh, now you do know how they got away with it. Where's the outrage? What the fuck? We're getting poisoned. Yeah. Flip the food pyramid upside down. Okay. What's next? Okay. This is crazy stuff. But, look, TikTok, Instagram, new loadout in Call of Duty. Let me watch 4 hours of that and not pay attention to this. This is what we do.
I'm sure you know that they found a sarcophagus in the pyramids. Which is...
No. I explained this to my daughter last night.
That was what they
She was
told
like,
us.
what about King Tut? I said, honey, they've never found the sarcophagus not one time ever in the pyramids that we all grew up being taught were to house the bodies of kings. And the explanation, they stole them. Okay. They stole all the bodies. Okay.
See that coffin with the big...
These massive structures with massive substructures with incredible accuracy, with materials from hundreds of miles away, cut with such precision, aligned with the stars, built on different continents in different time periods where there was no communication between the two. Perfect alignment. Okay. Well, if you build enough stuff, it'll happen.
They're just tombs. That's all they...
Am I alone in this? I can't take it anymore. I'm ready to jump off a fucking building right now. I can't. It's fucking everywhere.
I'm trying not to say anything because this is just fucking pure gold.
What was the movie where we went into a famine because the government got convinced they should water all the crops with a sports drink, and all the crops were dying, and they brought all the scientists in, and nobody could figure out why we were in this food famine, and the whole world was dying off, and it was because we were watering our crops with, like, Gatorade.
You're talking about older stupid comedy movie.
But
It was
so true.
with the guy from Old School.
Idiocracy.
Yes.
Idiocracy. I just watched that movie a few months
We're
ago.
living in
not the other one.
idiocracy right now.
He woke up in the future. Yeah.
This is happening right now. The movie Don't Look Up, then Three Eye Atlas comes along, and everyone goes, okay. Okay, no, we have crystal clear pictures of images on Mars. Crystal fucking clear images. We can't get a good picture of what this thing is. It's a blur of light. Well, we see jets coming out of it. It's a reverse cone. Idiot. You don't know what a reverse cone is? Propulsion going out the opposite way of the trajectory that's going counter-cyclical to the solar system. It's emitting gas. It's off-gassing. No. It's driving. And changing colors. And changing direction. And taking a trajectory that's 1 in 11 million. Okay. No. Nothing to see here.
Nothing going on.
Well, we're finally going to get the images. Because NASA, it's going to pass right past the NASA fucking satellite. Oh, government shutdown. We're not going to track this fucking thing that's the size of Manhattan hurling through the fucking atmosphere at insanity speeds that we've never seen before. Only the third interstellar object ever. No, funding's cut. Shut the fucking camera. What? Please, somebody pick up this mantle for me because I can't fucking do it anymore. And it just went away. Just went away.
Yeah, that story did vanish. Three Eye Atlas.
Like Kaiser fucking Sose in the wind, gone.
Mike doesn't know.
Now all of a sudden, there's UAP disclosure. We're going to declare President Obama on a no-name podcast. Nobody ever heard of this fucking guy before. Casually, well, aliens are real. I mean, I haven't seen them. What? And nobody paid attention. Just went away. Oh, yeah, aliens are real. I mean, I haven't seen them. What do they call that place? Like he doesn't remember Area 51. What do they call that? Area 51? Oh, right, Area 51. Yeah, I don't think they're in some vault in Area 51. But what? What the fuck? I could tell you Leno was on a 12-game win streak today, though. Spent an hour watching that. 12 Warzone wins in a row. Lost on number 13 because they went after Specialist, even though they knew they shouldn't be chasing Specialist.
Things that matter.
What do you think of the moon? How is it so perfectly round and aligned?
Because
with the sun?
nothing is real. Nothing. Nothing's real.
How we only see one side of it always.
Yeah. The whole concept of it, of the planets and what's going on. I was talking to the reporters about, like, I'm getting awe-inspired. If you hold a quarter up to the sky at night, in that one little area of the sky blacked out by a quarter at shoulder distance, there's like 9 billion galaxies and trillions of stars and planets in that one little spot. We're the best that this infinite, ever growing, even that, we're in a universe that expands infinitely
Into
in
infiniteness.
real time every nanosecond that occurs. Okay. What? How is it expanding? Where's it going? Where's it start and stop? How do you know it's expanding? What?
Wait,
There's 9 billion galaxies in the spot of a quarter, and we think life is limited to what's on this shithole? Really? What the fuck are we doing? I fucking can't.
It was this guy.
Explain sleep to an alien that doesn't sleep. I couldn't do it. I could explain food. I could be like, I need energy, so I eat an apple, so I can use the energy that's in the apple. I'd be like, okay. Anything else? Yeah. At night, regardless of how much energy I consumed,
You go to sleep.
I just have to shut it down. I shut it down for like 8, 9, sometimes 12 hours. Sounds boring. No, my brain plays movies that I'm in. Sometimes they're scary.
This guy's name's Pete Holmes.
Explain sleep to an
He
alien
gets
that
it.
doesn't sleep.
There's another
I couldn't do
one where
it. I could explain food.
But that's
I could be like,
again part of this parody we live in. Here's a guy saying these things. Everyone and they go home and it's over.
some people think God.
What are you doing calling like
watching video.
What's up, man? Do you know when the new map's coming out for Call of Duty?
No, wrong Michael.
Oh, sorry. I thought this is
No?
no. This is the right Michael.
Yeah, but the other one picked up.
Oh, this is the evil Michael.
Yeah.
No, I want Mikey. My phone says Mikey, not Michael.
Mikey's on my time right now.
Well, I need you to ask him, please, when the new map is coming out.
You can send me Apple Pay and then he's on my time. You fuck off.
Very well. Thank you for ruining everything.
March 5th, he said. I heard Mikey in the background.
March 5th?
Who's that? Who's that?
That's McGinn.
Fuck you too, McGinn.
Don't take lessons from your brother.
All right, thanks.
Call JoJo. Bye.
Bye. Point was, Mikey knew the date the new map's coming out in Call of Duty.
Some people think God created the universe. Some people think nothing created the universe.
This I've
which is
heard.
the funniest guess. And the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist. So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree, if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a pretty goddamn magical fucking nothing, you guys. And ask the nothing people, what happens when you die? They'll tell you, nothing. You go into nothing. I'm like, you mean you merge back with your creator? That's heaven, bitch. Some people think God...
Just talk to this guy.
Yep. We just plucked a dictator out of his bed in the most fortified military base in the country in 20 minutes with 20 men, and we melted the opponent's brains. They started bleeding out of their eyes, their ears, their nose. They just shut down. What? Oh, they had some sort of weapon. Okay.
It's gonna be your thing.
People are getting cancers all over the place. Can't figure out why. Wonder why and how that's happening. Just overnight, directed energy weapons, which was a conspiracy theory. This poor bastard's testifying, like, giving the reporter the info. He's like, I don't know what happened. We're bleeding out of our fucking eyes and nose and ears and mouth, and we couldn't function. They melted these fucking people from the inside out. No inquiry, no what weapons, what are they doing to us? All right, I'll go use my microwave.
I don't even have a microwave anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have a microwave anymore?
My wife refuses to get one.
Smart. Because what the fuck is that?
Yep. Don't have it. It's pretty crazy. Think about it. Waves just heat up things.
There's waves bouncing around in this thing.
It heats up the food,
In
but not,
60 seconds,
not
my
the
water
dish.
boils.
But
But
not-
I can just lean up against it. And my sister-in-law was over. She's like, you probably don't want that area next to your microwave. I'm like, no, okay. The waves that I'm boiling water in 60 seconds can't get through the plastic that's an eighth of an inch thick. No impact on me, I'm sure. And I'm sure drinking the water or eating the food, it's fine. Can't see it. There's no heat. Just magic. Like the Jetsons. Remember they put it in, ding, and the whole fucking turkey meal came out? Yeah. Everything's fine.
What about MRIs though? MRIs, they don't even touch your head, and they get a whole scan of your brain.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Might have to kill you if I told you.
You see the radiologist lady that showed her hand because she had to calibrate the x-ray machine every day? Melted her fucking hand over time. Completely deformed it.
Well, it's crazy too. Even like when you go to the dentist, right, and they take X-rays of your teeth, they put this little vest on you. They put the thing in front of you, and they're like, "All right, gotta leave the room now."
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Shoot
okay,
me
yeah,
up.
take
And then
the
let
X-ray.
me pay the insurance company $500 for that x-ray. You needed 97 of them for my teeth. Yeah. No problem. I'm sure this lead vest is just going to be fine. Not that you're shooting it into my fucking head, but I need a lead vest here. And we're just like, okay, it's fine. Because they're shooting it into your fucking head. And we wonder,
How did I get gum cancer?
how did we get sick? I don't know. Hereditary. It's in our DNA. We can map that. That we know about. It's hereditary. Nothing you can do about it. Now go get treatments. All right.
Well, they poison you to cure cancer, supposedly. You get rid of cancer, they shoot you with radiation and shit.
I watched Pop miraculously have cancer in 9 or 11 places, get immunotherapy, which simply removes the protein lipid so that the immune system can see the cancer. That's why cancer can spread, because your body can't see it. And he went from 11 places to 0. When the cancer came back years later, they wouldn't let him just go on immunotherapy. They made him go through chemo and radiation first, again, even though it didn't work. And their answer was, well, we don't know. You're assuming that it was just the immunotherapy that worked. We believe it was all three. It's okay, but his leg melted. His balls blew up this big. It was the most sad thing you could fucking see. We don't want to take those other things. Well, we can't administer it that way. We can only study it in conjunction with chemo and radiation. And this man suffered, and his fucking skin bubbled up, and he got so sick from those treatments to get the immunotherapy that knocked it out. But they said this is the way it's got to be, so that's what you do.
And if you fight back against that, then see ya.
You're gone.
They didn't even tell you what they're doing to my father-in-law in the hospital. They don't know what the hell's going on with him, but they thought he had stomach cancer. They're like, oh, we'll start you on chemo. They give 1 round of chemo. Like, let's stop this. Let's not do this now. I was like, what the hell was the point of 1 round of chemo? Like, how do you do that to a person and say, oh, we're not going to do that anymore because we think it's something else? It's like, it's all guesswork. All guesswork that they did.
We paid, there's no guesswork about it, Pete. They're billing and billing. Yeah. We paid hospitals for every person that went on a ventilator during COVID, in spite of the ventilators being one of the major reasons people weren't recovering. But because we paid the hospitals, everyone got put on a ventilator. We paid the hospitals to report deaths being attributable to COVID. What do you think they did? Car accident, and this is not even parity. Died in a car accident, tested them, had COVID. COVID goes down as cause of death.
And a gunshot wound too, same thing.
What? Okay. Well, we all saw the videos from Europe of the body bags and masses of people in the street. What? That didn't happen. Where was that? If you had half a brain in a week, you went, all right, I've seen enough people get this, and I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying it's not what they said it was. Right? So I'm going to roll all this shit back. They shut us down. They stopped us from having the ability to earn money. They didn't pause real estate taxes. They didn't pause utility bills. They pumped a bunch of money into the fucking markets.
Didn't they do something where it was like, the landlords couldn't collect rent or something like that? The owner.
Oh, yeah.
But the bank still got paid.
Yeah, of course. It's everywhere.
That might be my favorite thing that you've done thus far.
What do you think of Trump's savings plan thing for kids that are born after?
I think that is a precursor to what we're talking about.
My dad keeps on telling me, he's like, did you get the thing for Dominic yet? I'm like, I keep on forgetting. But he's like, you need to get it.
Because that's what you're saying about the universal income. If they don't grow up knowing who they are and everything like that, it's going to just be terrible.
I think that is exactly one of those undeniable dots that become dashes of where this is headed. And
it's like now
half the government's fighting it.
Because now my son doesn't need to work for really a retirement or a savings.
No, your son won't be able to work. There won't be jobs.
Yeah. It's like a double-sided coin. It's like, oh great, my kid doesn't have to go through the struggles that I went through. But it's like at the same time, it's like, but then not that work is your purpose, but hopefully, and that's the whole point, right? Like he finds something.
Let me shit all over you. Pete, Google what % of, I don't know how to phrase it, like family office wealth that gets transferred to an heir, the second generation, what % of them thrive and what % of them fail?
That's not shitting all over me.
70% fail.
Okay.
Approximately 70% of intergenerational family wealth transfers fail.
So 7 out of 10 kids who grow up wealthy.
Yeah, and
With up to 90% by third.
it's like 93% is the real stat I'm trying to get to. When someone is handed money without direction and purpose, 93% of them lose it.
Well, that's what it is. If you
93%.
So
don't do the things that you're trying to teach right now, they'll just be fat, lazy bastards and just.
So the way what you're saying is shitting all over me. Great, my son doesn't have to work or do anything because he's set up.
93 out of 100 Dominics don't make it.
Yeah.
And that's generational wealth. If it's just enough to get by, I would suspect it's going to be a much higher percentage than 93.
I would say, I think my wife falls under that. My wife grew up in a wealthy environment. Uncle owned a Peter Court on fucking Toad Hill. Dad owned pizzerias all throughout the place. Millionaires. And my wife is the least responsible person when it comes to money that I've ever met in my life. And it drives me nuts. And
3 common reasons for failure.
I have to pick up the slack, and then I find myself in a pickle because I'm trying to support her and her struggles, but now I'm fucking burying myself. And me, I'm very, I've said this to you before, I'm very cheap, and my buddies call me Frugal McDougal, because I've never had it, right? So I try and hold on to it and be smart.
And because of that, you'll never have it.
What do you mean?
That's the mind fuck. Till you let all that go, you will always be in a perpetual state of, it's just out of reach.
Not saying now that it's out of reach. Okay.
Listen to Uncle James when he talks.
Theo James.
You got to let all that go. And whatever you believe and see and feel and have gratitude for is what will be. Full stop.
I believe you 100%.
3 common reasons for failure is sense of entitlement instead of gratitude, no shared vision, and ignoring or focusing only on money and ignoring values or legacy.
I think I am a prophet. I think you're right. That's it. That's it right there.
That's what you're trying to get at. If they have all this stuff without any core values, then that goes to shit.
We are going to be in Cyberdyne. Terminator, end of the world, apocalypse, scarcity, death, annihilation. But Jeff Bezos got a bunker. Zuckerberg's got a bunker. Elon Musk has a planet.